big question many were asking, Maria, was why is it that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Russian President traveled in a Toyota Fortuner? The friendship in a Fortuner was that big question. How the Toyota Fortuner became the choice for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Putin to drive from the Palam technical area in New Delhi to the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Now, what sources are telling India today, the choice of the vehicle
chosen for Prime Minister Modi and President Vladimir Putin's drive from Palam technical area to 7 LKM was governed by the sitting space. Prime Minister's Range Rover doesn't have third sitting row to accommodate the interpreters. So interpreters had to be accommodated also in that Toyota Fortuner. And because of that extra row, the translators could sit. And as per sources, both interpreters for Prime Minister Modi and President Putin were sitting in the car when both leaders boarded. So interesting.
The vehicles were already approved by the security detail of both the countries. The Toyota Fortuner, what sources are also telling India today, that traveling together was that big signal that the two leaders wanted to send out to their respective countries and to the world. So the Prime Minister did not take the pool vehicles. This was a vehicle that was specially brought in for the purpose. Very, very important to send out that message. Of course, the American president has the beast. The Russian president also has his beast, or his equivalent of a beast, that's Senate, which has a 6.2-liter engine, is armor-plated, bomb-proof, very, very heavy vehicle. And I want to bring in Sandeep Punithan, who joins us on this broadcast to talk more about the American beast and the Russian beast. Sandeep, the Russian automobile, while it's armor-plated in India, this was the Toyota Fortuner, while that Russian vehicle is already also here.
Well, absolutely, Gaurav. And we were talking about the 21-gun salute, the Tri-Services Guard of Honor, the red carpet welcome at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. And I think President Putin and Prime Minister Modi have taken their friendship to a new level with this carpool diplomacy. This is something that Prime Minister Modi doesn't do with any other head of government. And we've seen that these two leaders have, on the fly, they've improvised this carpool diplomacy. We saw it first at the SCO meeting, and this is the second installment of that. This actually takes the friendship, the personal chemistry, the personal connect that both leaders have to a whole new level, because the honor guard, the reception at the tarmac, all of this is something that Prime Minister Modi has done with previous visiting dignitaries. But this carpool diplomacy is a new twist, Gaurav. And, the choice of the vehicle, the Fortuner, who finds a friend finds a Fortuner in this case, it seems.
Good one.
Absolutely.
That's actually a good one. Who finds a friend finds a Fortuner. But this one also was because of the two leaders ensuring that the interpreters were traveling with them. Pranay has got us all the details with regards to the choice of the Toyota Fortuner, the white-colored Toyota Fortuner, which has everybody thinking, why a Toyota Fortuner? Pranay, let's explain to our viewers, when the two leaders were sitting in that car, there were their interpreters also sitting in the third row of that vehicle.
Absolutely, Maria. That was the reason why Toyota Fortuner was chosen and became the fortunate car to give out this picture, that both the leaders chose to drive in from Palam technical area to 7 LKM when President Vladimir Putin landed. And within the span of 3 months, this is yet again a messaging, a big messaging, a geopolitical messaging, a joint messaging that India will exercise its strategic autonomy. We will not get succumbed by any Western pressure. And also President Vladimir Putin, who stands out to be currently as the most sanctioned and leader of the most sanctioned country right now. But he wanted to give out a message that, Russia has choices. We have our old friends, we have our allies, we have our partners. But why the vehicle was chosen, the biggest reason was the sitting arrangement of interpreters, because Prime Minister uses the Range Rover car, and that car doesn't have the third row. to fit in the two interpreters, both for President Vladimir Putin and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And that was the reason why this car, the white Toyota Fortuner, was chosen for the ride of both the leaders. And that was the reason. And in fact, when President Vladimir Putin came, when he was received by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this vehicle was all prepared, all set, and kept ready, with both the interpreters sitting in that car, and both the leaders boarded that car, and that was the drive. And we know the pictures,
Yes.
how Prime Minister Narendra Modi also shared the picture of the smiling and the laughing picture with which both the leaders gave out this big message to the
Pranay,
world.
interestingly, Gaurav has been also speaking to his sources, and he has another theory with this choice of this vehicle. And what is that, Gaurav?
So, no, it's very clear. The BMW doesn't make the cut for the Prime Minister. Given the hostile behavior, if I may, towards Russia of the Germans right now, or the Range Rover, even though Range Rover is owned now by Tatas, and it's an Indian vehicle. But then the third row, as you said, is very interesting. What's also very significant is the message that is being sent out, Professor Brahmachalani, that American pressure will not make India change its friends or decide who we'll be friendly with.
Lieutenant General Dylan, you can take that question. Please go ahead.
Absolutely. See, what has happened in the last about 1 year or so after President Trump has come to power, knowingly or unknowingly or unintentionally, he has pushed India, China, Russia closer. And with his Trump, tariffs and all, the pressure which is applied on India for sanctions against Russia or not buying the crude from Russia, because it's indirectly helping the war against Ukraine as per the Western philosophy. When the Russia-Ukraine war began, in that month of the first month of the Ukraine war in 2023, I was asked a question: where does India stand in this Russia-Ukraine war? And more than 2.5 years ago, my answer was, India stands on its 2 feet. And that answer remains even today. It remains valid even today. India stands on its 2 feet. India is a country which will not take any pressure from anyone. We are the world's largest democracy. We are the 1/6 of the world. We are the 4th largest economy. We are a military might. And what have you? So we cannot afford to take any pressure, because our leadership is the leadership of 1/6 of the world. How can you put 1/6 of the world under pressure? And that's
a very interesting take that you have, sir. That's a very interesting take that you have. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he's displayed it. World leaders are talking about it. The fact that India sought great ties with China, with Russia, with the United States. It was China that stabbed India in the back with the Doklam in 2017 and Galwan in 2020. And then it was China that ultimately is seeking, even if it's tactical, to improve ties with India. India stands firm. With the United States, India made all the effort. It was President Trump who messed the relationship. Now it's for him to sort it out. But if you notice, not one word, Maria, has come from Prime Minister Narendra Modi or anybody in the Indian government that is critical.
And strategic silence, as we call it, even as there were a lot of reactions as to why the Prime Minister is not speaking. We have seen just a few weeks later how Donald Trump dialed Prime Minister Modi, and there were efforts made by White House to reset ties and ensure some kind of talks move ahead with regards to the trade deal. The question is, what is the future of the trade deal now that India has sent a clear message to the West, to White House, that when it is about relationships, yes, India may be part of Quad. It is looking at European nations and US, but New Delhi also believes in hosting President Putin and ensuring that when it is about old relationships, they are treasured as well.
Frankly, this is the time that President Trump, Sandeep, should have been in India.
For the Quad
President
Summit.
Trump should have been here for Quad Summit. He chose not to come. It's President Putin who's come. You know, it's President Trump's loss. It's actually Quad not happening. There's a Quad counter-terror meeting that is happening right now in New Delhi, Sandeep. But it just goes on to show the summit has been postponed for another day, another time perhaps in 2026. But then it's for President Trump now to bring the
explain.
relationship back on an even keel, Sandeep?
Absolutely, Gaurav. And the Quad is one casualty of the second Trump presidency. And interestingly, the Quad was something that Donald Trump had revived almost a decade ago in his first term. But in the second term, for various reasons, the Quad has died a very instantaneous death, and the other three partners are wondering what happened to it. And this is exactly what happened, that President Trump was to come to Delhi for this very important Quad summit. That was going to be a litmus test for India about how seriously Trump viewed his relationship with India, especially in the larger framework of the Quad. And that clearly seems to be on the back burner now. And, Gaurav, the bigger takeaway from all of this is that President Putin, Prime Minister Modi, even President Xi Jinping, these are serious leaders. They're there for the long term. They're there for a decade, 15 years, 3 terms.